All right, hello everyone. We're gonna go ahead. We're gonna go ahead and start in a couple of minutes. All right, everyone. All right. Let me share. All right, everybody. Hello and welcome to Shifa Community Clinic's 18th annual community banquet. So happy that everyone was able to join in. Like I said before, like we said mentioned before, you can go ahead and join in on YouTube or Facebook. Go ahead and join in on any of those, and feel free to comment on those as well. Before we start, I just want to go ahead and mention about our auction site. So it's called 32auctions.com. What it's going to allow you to do is go through all the auction items that we have right now. And you can go ahead and take a picture of the QR code on the screen right now. Just go ahead and take any phone that you have, hold your camera up, and it's going to go ahead and open up the site from there. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code and it'll bring you to that site. And you may also place donations and auction bids at any of these numbers. So you can go ahead and call 916-441-6008, 707-418-8021, or you can call 209-920-7756 to call in a donation. You can also go ahead and call or text 916-803-1987 as well. All right, so I just want to welcome everyone to Shifa Community Clinic's 18th annual community banquet. Tonight will be filled with, esteemed guest speakers, Shifa's alumni, and just showcasing our amazing Shifa community. I know this banquet is online, but we're going to try our best to give everyone a wholesome experience that really highlights the accomplishments, goals, and mission of Shifa Clinic. I know you've seen this on our flyers and on our banquet page, but it's just something very good to keep in mind and something that we can all take new perspectives and insights on tonight. When you learn, teach; when you get, give. All right, now just to run through our agenda really quickly, we're going to have a welcome from our medical director, Dr. Shagufta Yasmin. We're going to go ahead and we have 3 keynote speakers. We have alumni speakers. We're going to have our silent auction, and then we're going to close out the night with some fundraising and award ceremony, along with some closing remarks from Shifa members. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to kick it off with the medical director of Shifa Community Clinic, Dr. Shagufta Yasmin. She has some words on Shifa, what it means to her, and all of our accomplishments thus far throughout the year. So I'm going to go ahead and let her take it from here. All right, it looks like we had a little bit of technical difficulties with that video, but basically Dr. Yasmin was just highlighting the accomplishments that we've been able to do thus far in clinic, such as opening up a telehealth clinic, giving to various fundraisers, and just the amount that we've been able to do in clinic has been very inspiring. And we want to thank Dr. Shkuti Yasmin for all that she's done for clinic. All right, so now what's going to happen is I'm going to bring in Dr. Hamad Khan. He is a UC Davis psychiatrist. He is a Shifa alumni, and he is the Shifa preceptor or physician for our Mind Clinic mental health clinic at Shifa Community Clinic. So what he's going to do is he's going to come into the call and he's going to go ahead and talk about Shifa and how you can donate and how you can help us reach our fundraising goal. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Like Vijay said, my name's Hamad. I'm one of the preceptors here. I've been a Shifa family member for an incredibly long time. And it's a great honor to be here with you guys tonight. And I appreciate you guys joining us digitally. And I also ask for your patience as you are patient with us through this process. This is something very new for us and something we're hoping can really highlight what we're doing here at clinic and also be able to share with you some of the challenges that we've been facing, with our transitions into this new world where COVID is a reality for us. I think that's a really important place for us to start tonight, to acknowledge the fact that we're meeting here digitally. Unlike any other year, we're not in person. We're not meeting, in rooms where we get to sit down, greet each other, to hug and to eat together and to have the conversations so many of us look forward to. This is different. And we need to acknowledge that. We need to acknowledge off the bat that this is a year in which 225 plus thousand of our fellow Americans have passed away due to an illness that we never could have foreseen. We need to acknowledge that our families, our communities, people that we know, maybe people that we were very, very close to have lost their lives in a way that was deeply and completely unexpected. And amidst that, we've gone through difficult times here in this country, whether it's talking about difficult topics like racism and the loss of innocent lives, or dealing with the realities of natural disasters here so close to us here in California. 2020 has been an incredibly challenging year. And I think particularly in that context, it's with so much honor and so much appreciation that we welcome you here tonight. And we appreciate you deciding to spend your evening with us. One of the reasons we wanted to share this event with you digitally this year was because we wanted to show that the important work that you've always supported here at Shifa Clinic has continued. As you'll see on the next slide, one of our big opportunities this year is going to be talking about not only the work that we've done, but the work that we're hoping to do. And this year alone, in 2020, we've had 727 patient appointments. These are people from our community. These are folks that so many of us as preceptors, students, and learners in this clinic have developed such a passion for the healthcare fields, medicine, pharmacy, dentistry, nursing, and so many others, because these are the patients that give us life, and this is the community that we love to serve. And throughout tonight's event, we're going to be showing you opportunities for you to get involved, for you to share with our passion for this community, and for you to support the work that we're doing. You're going to see QR codes. And in the last slide, if we go back, you'll see 2 QR codes on the screen where you're able to pull up your phone. And what we're asking you to do, like Vijay was describing earlier, is if you take your phone out, and I want to do it with you, and if you take your phone and you open your camera, you can hold it up to your screen and your phone is going to be able to load up a page where you'll be able to donate to us directly. We recognize this is a trying time. We want to make this as easy and as good of an opportunity as we can to support, the opportunities that we're going to present to you today and the work that we're really proud of accomplishing here at Clinic. So there's going to be multiple ways for us to donate tonight. One will be through PayPal, others will be through Venmo. If you have the app, you can, directly send us whatever you're able to share at Shifa Clinic. And we'll also be having websites on our website. We'll be sharing the link momentarily where you can go and donate as well. There's going to be some phone numbers we're going to share with you later tonight that you can call in, as well as a number that you can text in if you have questions or more information. And we're going to be going back to the slides throughout tonight's event, so we're able to share. But if we can go back ahead in the slides, one of the things I really wanted to touch on tonight was the fact that this is a year that's been incredibly unique. Once we talked about 727 patient appointments, and I want you to look at how those have been have occurred over the course of this year. And as many of you know, the work that we do in this communities, patients and families rely on us for serving the underserved, serving folks who don't have access to healthcare, don't have access to things that we, for many of us, take for granted. And here you could see on the far left of this chart how consistently and reliably we are able to provide that. And early in the process, when we're thinking about March and April, when COVID became such a darkening reality for so many of us, we began to feel that here at clinic as well. It was a heartbreaking moment for so many when we had to think about closing down clinic for periods while we were able to bring ourselves to a point where we could safely provide the services so many relied on us for. And we're incredibly proud of our ability to have done that now. You know, even at this time, I can tell you that myself and some of our medical students are working on sharing our process, sharing what we've accomplished throughout this transition process with the larger medical community. We want to share what we've done here because it's incredibly unique, particularly in a student-run clinic in a community setting. This is something very special that's happening here in clinic. And if we go to the next slide, I also want to share with you how we make that happen. In a typical year, if you look at our clinic expenses, it's not something that we spend a whole lot of money on. For those of us within the healthcare field, we know that these things are costly. You know, whether it's talking about medications or lab testing or something as simple as, you know, overhead fees that so many of us don't think twice about, the costs add up very quickly. But we've been incredibly committed from the birth of this clinic to be efficient and cost effective. Most of our staff is volunteer based. Our physicians, our providers, our other medical students and learners are providing critical services at no real reimbursement outside of their passion and their opportunity to learn in this environment. And those are critical parts of what we do. Looking at this graph a little bit more closely, our yearly expenses come out to be below 60,000, which is incredible for if we look at the amount of patients appointments that we have in a year. Most of these costs are ones that are very much ones that we are using for medical expenses. We have some professional fees for overhead costs, and we have some fees that we have to, pay just to make sure the clinic's coming along. We're going to share more with you tonight about details and also things that have come up over the course this year to make this work happen that we hope that you'll support with us on in making this work continue and making it as good as we could possibly be. In closing, I want to share two things with you. One is that quote from one of our preceptors, Dr. Kravitz. This is on our next slide, if we can advance. And the quote is, "Medicine is a calling, an opportunity to interact with people in a very basic way. Shifa is a living example of multiculturalism where people from different backgrounds can work together in the pursuit of common goals." It reminds physicians and of why they went to healthcare in the first place. And we hope that we can share with you tonight as we talk about the work our alumni have done and the growth that they've seen in clinic. There's more information we're going to share with you tonight, but I want to skip ahead a few slides to share with you what our goal for fundraising is for tonight. And we showed you before that 60,000 is what this clinic takes essentially to keep its doors open, but we've committed ourselves to continue to expand it. And year after year, you've seen us continue to grow as we've added on dental clinic, mind clinic, and other aspects of our work. Our goal for this year for this fundraiser is going to be $100,000. That's a goal I'm confident we can reach, particularly with those of us who are joining in on this call and those of us who are so evident and know how much work and how much of an impact our clinic can have in the community. We'll look forward to discussing that more with you. I'm incredibly excited to invite Sheikh Omar Suleiman, who we're very lucky to have join us tonight. And we're looking forward to hearing more from him.
All right, thank you, Dr. Khan, for that inspiring message and speaking on Shifa Clinic. Like he said, we are truly helping the underserved and underrepresented community, and all of our staff are volunteer-based, and they're truly passionate about helping these patients achieve their healthcare and reach their health goals. So now, it is my honor to introduce our very first guest speaker for tonight, Sheikh Omar Suleiman. So I'm going to go ahead and let him speak on his mission, his goals, and how that aligns with Shifa Clinic, and let him speak on Shifa Clinic as well. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, everyone. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. First of all, let me just say what a great honor it is for me to be here. The work of Shifa Clinic I have known for a very long time and have admired because of the role that it plays in the community and how comprehensive and with what ihsan, with what excellence Shifa acts with everyone around it, with the community that it serves. And so I wanted to just reflect on this idea of Shifa, of healing. the Prophet ﷺ taught us that the two greatest blessings that we have are faith and then health. And the Prophet, peace be upon him, teaches us that the way that we honor the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to us is to give those blessings as well. And the Quran is described as a shifa. The Quran is a healing in the spiritual sense. And of course, its healing qualities extend beyond merely the way that it heals the heart. But the idea that we could channel that healing and that we could play a healing role in the world around us. And I think back to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, which is so relevant today, where the Prophet ﷺ said the most beloved of people to Allah are those that are most beneficial to the people. And the most beloved of deeds to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are that you bring inner joy to the heart of your brother, that you remove hunger from him, that you remove a debt from him, or that you remove any sort of hardship. And subhanAllah, with this pandemic that we are in right now, those that were vulnerable have only been made more vulnerable. And the institutions like Shifa that have stepped up to be a part of the healing process before this pandemic and are continuing to shine through this pandemic, those institutions have not had the in-person fundraisers that they're used to. They have not had the opportunity to have that environment where people come together physically and they are motivated by the atmosphere to give more. And the fact of the matter is that the institutions that we need most right now to serve those that are most vulnerable have the potential to themselves become vulnerable if we all don't step up and make sure that those institutions are fully funded, that they're able to continue to serve as a benefit to the community around them, and in the process, channel out our obligation, allow us to be a part of healing. And subhanAllah, it starts off with that idea of being a part of the process. You know, we talked about spiritual healing in the sense of shifa. We know that the Prophet ﷺ, he said, the one who guides to good is like the one who does it. And in the same way, the one who enables good is like the one who does it as well. Just like when we talk about da'wah and when we talk about spreading the spiritual healing of this message of Islam, if a person had anything to do with the process, then they receive the full reward. The same thing is true when we talk about enabling any type of good. And so when our brothers and sisters at the Shifa Clinic are out there serving people, when they are providing health to people that, healthcare to people that otherwise would not have access to it, when we support that effort, then that allows us to be a part of the process, and that allows us to be a part of the reward. And this is so crucial right now with these institutions, because so much of the tragedies that we encounter right now are preventable tragedies. And so many of us may not be able to, but we know of people that have had health challenges and did not find an outlet, did not find a place to go. Just by you being there, just by Shifa Clinic being there for people that otherwise would not have the ability to go and get themselves checked, is in and of itself a form of shifa to the inside, to the healing to the internal being of a person. You know, subhanAllah, I was thinking about this hadith, when the Prophet ﷺ says that the most beloved of deeds is to bring a sense of inner joy to someone, to bring a sense of inner peace. And how many of us have encountered a moment where the uncertainty of what was happening with us was in and of itself causing us more health complications or more damage to us mentally, emotionally, than any type of physical diagnosis that could have been there? There are so many times that you might find yourself in a situation where an elderly person in your family or someone that you love is encountering something, experiencing something, and you don't really know where to go. And we know what happens when you go to Google, right? Any type of thing that you Google tells you the worst case scenario, and that only, you know, compounds your sense of uncertainty and compounds your fears and compounds your anxiety. Just having a place like Shifa there where people can go to be checked out is in and of itself a great form of relief to the heart and a great way of relieving the anxiety that people might be feeling because they do not have access to healthcare the way that they should have access to healthcare. All of this is part of who the Prophet ﷺ taught us to be. And when we think about that idea of the Prophet ﷺ, وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ, that we have not sent you except as a mercy to the worlds. The Prophet ﷺ did not just teach us to be a mercy to the Muslims, He did not even just teach us to be a mercy to humankind. He taught us to be a mercy to everything that's around us by his existence, his manifestation of the Quran, which was a shifa. He was, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, then a walking cure. He was, alayhi salatu wasalam, because he was a walking Quran and the Quran was shifa. He was the walking manifestation of that Quran. And so one of the ways that we manifest the Prophet ﷺ sunnah today, which was a manifestation of the Quran, which we still have with us today, is by being that cure and being that healing with everything and everyone that's around us. And I want to specifically speak to the importance of financially supporting this organization, inshallah ta'ala. You do not know the blessing of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala expands that mercy for you on the day of judgment. Do not belittle your good deeds. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "La tahqiranna min al-ma'rufi shay'an." Do not belittle your good deeds. Many times, especially in the face of a global pandemic or in the face of doom and gloom and turmoil, we belittle the role that we can play in being part of the healing of the world. But you don't know what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make of that good deed in this world. And you certainly don't know the reward that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has waiting for you in the next. Okay, so don't belittle your good deed. Don't belittle the support that you give to this wonderful organization that allows for our donations to be directly put into the healing process, which is so beloved to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when we heal others, as the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah is in the cause of his servant so long as the servant is in the cause of his brother or sister. While we are in the cause of others, Allah is in our cause. When we show mercy, Allah shows us mercy. When we show generosity, Allah shows us generosity. When we show gratitude, Allah shows us gratitude. And when we heal, Allah heals us. And Allah knows that all of us are in some sort of pain right now. And so we certainly could all use some sort of healing in our lives, spiritually, emotionally, physically, mentally, whatever it may be. So let us be what we want from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as the Prophet ﷺ taught us. Treat others as you want Allah to treat you. And let's support this noble work. Let's support this organization so that as people are becoming more vulnerable, the institutions that have been set up to treat those vulnerabilities are only being strengthened, are only being enabled further by those who have the ability to enable them, because they are not amongst the most vulnerable of society. They're not amongst those that are most, that are most in need, especially in times like this. I end with that hadith of the Prophet ﷺ where he told us about a woman or a man who gave water to a thirsty dog, and that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala entered that person into Jannah despite, the woman who was described in the hadith as being an adulterous woman who lived a sinful life, but Allah forgave her because she gave water to a thirsty dog. And the hadith says, Shakar Allah fa shakar Allahu lahu. In the case of the man who gave water to the thirsty dog, that person was grateful to Allah, and so Allah showed them gratitude. That person was grateful to Allah, so Allah showed them gratitude. Even though that person only gave water to the dog, that is how we channel that gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by living gracious lives, by living lives of gratitude. And Allah will never allow you to outdo him. And so when you heal, your healing will not outdo the healing that Allah will send your way. When you show mercy, your mercy that you show to others will not outdo the mercy that Allah will show to you. When you show gratitude to others, your gratitude to others will not outdo the gratitude that Allah will show to you. And when you are generous, your generosity will not outdo the generosity of Allah to you, so long as it is sincere. So I call upon all of you to sincerely support the wonderful work at Shifa Clinic. May Allah bless all of you at Shifa for channeling this healing that we all have a chance to be a part of, and may Allah accept it from you and from us. Allahumma ameen. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right. Thank you, Sheikh Omar Suleiman. What an amazing and inspiring message. Like he said, it could be someone in your family that's experiencing these symptoms, this pain, these troubles, and you don't know where to go. Shifa is truly that place to go. Being a volunteer myself, I find it comforting to know that if it were my grandmother, my grandfather, I would want them to have Shifa in their lives and just have it be there for them in their time of need. So thank you so much, Sheikh Omar Suleiman, for that very inspiring message. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and have Dr. Yasmin, our medical director, come in and speak on a few words about Shifa Community Clinic, its origins, its accomplishments, and our philosophy here at Shifa Clinic. So I'll go ahead and let her take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum everyone, peace be upon you. Thank you for joining the annual Shifa Community Clinic fundraising event. We are honored to share this evening with all of you. This has been a difficult year, serving our vulnerable and underserved population. The pandemic put our patients at further risk, not only from COVID-19 exposure, but also from their ongoing medical conditions. Shifa Clinic quickly moved forward with innovative solutions, pioneering a system of telehealth for our patients, allowing them to be seen by the team of outstanding healthcare providers from the comfort of their homes. We also have continued our commitment to teaching of our undergraduates and medical students. The hard work of our undergraduate students, medical students, and volunteer physicians and our clinic manager has allowed Shifa to be a model clinic. Tonight, we continue to see the support provided by the community through all of you and the Shifa alumni who are connecting tonight with us from different parts of the United States. I welcome you all. To our speakers, Sheikh Omar Suleiman, Mr. Basim Al-Kiara, and Sheikh Yahya Ibrahim, I thank you for your commitment to supporting the Shifa Clinic mission. Thank you for taking time to reconnect with the Shifa community tonight. I hope this event will give you the insight into Shifa's many wonderful accomplishments and the vision we have for the future. As Maya Angelou said, when you learn, you teach, when you get, you give. Shifa has been lucky to foster the growth of our many students, including the undergraduate and the medical students. Each year we send off our students confident that they will make a much needed change in the healthcare and the world at large. I am personally honored to work with the team of wonderful physicians and the allied healthcare providers. We have outstanding undergraduate volunteers and the medical students who give us a hope for the better future. I want to extend my thank you to my community board members and a special thank you for the president of the Muslim Mosque and their board for their continued support of the clinic. Have a good night.
All right, thank you, Dr. Yasmin, for those perspectives and insights on Shifa Community Clinic. What an amazing message. When you learn, teach, when you get, give. So now it's my honor to bring back Dr. Hamad Khan and Dr. Ann. She is a community board member for Shifa Community Clinic and has done amazing things for the community and the clinic as a whole. So I'll go ahead and let them take it from here.
Thanks, Vijay, and it's great to be here with you, Dr. Ann. We wanted to give you guys some updates off the bat. Right now, we wanted to give you guys a running tally in terms of how our fundraiser has been going. And although we're very lucky that so far $15,000 have been donated, and this is an incredible first step forward towards working towards our goal for tonight, which you mentioned earlier, for those who are joining a little late, to be $100,000. And this is something which is such a great opportunity for all of us to work together on tonight. And we're going to be sharing with you the work that we're doing here at Clinic. We're going to be inviting community board members like Dr. Ann, some of our alumni, and really sharing with you what our vision for this next year in Clinic looks like. And just as a reminder, you have an opportunity to go to shifaclinic.org to donate. If you have any questions or if you're trying to get a hold of someone, there's also a phone number you can call or text into. That's 916-803-1987, 916-803-1987. We're going to go ahead and put some of those donation informations back on the screen throughout the event tonight, so you can have those for easy access. But for right now, Dr. Ann, thank you for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for asking me to be part of this. It's an honor.
No, we're really glad you were able to make it with us tonight. And we're hoping you can share from your vast experiences in the community, both a little bit more about yourself, although here in the Sacramento community, you're very well known to lots of us here. And I think it's helpful for some of us from out of town to learn a little bit more about your work in the community. And also, we're hoping to gain from your Sacramento's region is really changing over the last few years and what your vision for how Sacramento is heading is going.
Sure, thank you so much. So yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm a member of this Shifa community board, and I've been there for the past few years. And I'm really honored to be part of that board and part of this effort tonight. Shifa Clinic is important to my family and to me, as we've had family members as patients there, family members as volunteers, and now I'm volunteering on the board. I'm here because I've also been very active at the Salam Islamic Center, as many know, over many years. And I wanted to give back to Shifa, who has provided great services to our community. I also bring to Shifa my connections with public health as my career at the California Department of Public Health, and also my connections to the Global Health Program at UC Davis. So Shifa really bridges and crosses so many different aspects of my life, and I love to bring these things together. You asked a little bit about the Sacramento area, and being involved in the area for quite a while, I have seen some of these changes. Sacramento has really been enriched in these last few years with the settlement of immigrants and refugees to our area. And specifically, these are folks from Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq. And in fact, Sacramento is the third highest in receiving refugees in the country. And when I say enrich, I really mean we've seen new restaurants, we've seen new mosques, community centers that bring these cultures and food to our areas. And so we've really benefited, actually. But there's also needs that these folks have, and they often come to mosques to find advice about how to find these resources. So Shifa has been an important resource for which we are exceedingly grateful, to which we can refer folks to.
I appreciate that. And I know as a provider in the community working at UC Davis and other institutions, it's a challenge. I mean, we're seeing a whole new population of people from, a very different part of the world coming in, experiencing challenges that are, unfathomable for most of us. And just the difficulties of navigating the system are so challenging. And having something like Shifa where we're able to send a referral out, ask, people to check in, bring their loved one who hasn't sought the care that they needed for so long, who doesn't maybe know what their medications are even for them to have someplace like Shifa is incredibly powerful. And I think what would be interesting to learn from you about is, being in the public health sector and being so involved across so many community organizations, how do you see Shifa and Shifa's work fitting into that greater Sacramento landscape, within this community and also within the greater Sacramento community when we think about health needs and disparities?
Yeah, so you've actually touched a lot on a lot of those points, but I can add to that in a variety of ways. Shifa is really the first place that many of these folks establish health care. And I think, even though maybe some have the ability to go to other clinics, the thing about Shifa is they're really culturally sensitive in their approach to providing care. And that is so critical and really makes people comfortable. And so they can do things like take care of health issues that may have been neglected for years. And that's really what Shifa has been able to do. Yes, it is a way to help them navigate into the system and to help them find insurance options if possible. And that navigation, I mean, I myself have trouble navigating, but I can only imagine if you, come from these different countries to try to see what we have to offer. I mean, Shifa is just really helpful in that. And the other thing about Shifa right now is we're expanding even more the services that we can offer, so such as the dental, and then very, very importantly, the mental health. I think that's a really critical aspect, that not only are we able to offer it, but we're able to really say this is a health issue. This is something you have to take care of. So, that becomes a lesson not only for the people that you're serving, but then again for the broader area as people see that, yeah, that's part of health. For students, I think it's really important because both for the medical students and for the students volunteering, this is really what I call a global health experience. You know, a lot of people, students may have opportunities prior to COVID, of course, in the traveling, that they go abroad to see what it is like, you know, abroad. But you don't have to do that. You know, you can get this global health experience here at Shifa, and you know, you learn, you know, what are these aspects of health that influence, or these outside cultural aspects of health that really influence, you know, how you're feeling and diseases and so on. So really, from the broad community perspective, it really provides a lot of education, you know, both to the people who are here and to the people we serve. I think I'll finish by emphasizing that we really do need to support Shifa in order for them to give that support. Our community is expanding, and the people we serve is expanding. And, you know, we serve not only Muslims, you know, we have a very large Hispanic population that we serve. And again, the cultural sensitivity comes in that too. And it's a really positive reflection of the Islamic values that we have of providing care for everyone. So I really recommend everyone to donate. And I want to give a really big shout out to the students at Shifa who've done just an amazing job on this event tonight. I am so proud of them. I am so impressed by them. And really, not only are you supporting the health of the community, but you're supporting the students in their ability to, you know, create these events, to manage clinics. Really, we're creating something really powerful here. So again, recommend really supporting as you can.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ann. And you know, personally, as someone who has been learning a clinic, I can really relate to where you're speaking to in that effect. And I think when we think about clinic, we so far focused a lot on this sense of just the service we provide the community, you know, the clinical care, the medical, you know, support that we're able to provide. But I think what you're highlighting is the educational component, and the pipeline really to, you know, as we look over these last 2 decades of an opportunity for students, many of which may be coming from communities of color, places where they may not have the privilege that some of their peers may have, and may not have access to opportunities to gain, you know, as a pre-medical student, these type of experiences. Or if you're interested in nursing or becoming a PA or any of these different fields, you know, we have had people graduate from the Shifa programming and become lawyers and engineers and go into all different professional aspects of, you know, the world. And many of them, you know, I speak to many of them regularly, and they all speak to the impact the Shifa had on them early on in their process. You know, one of the things we're hoping to do tonight is bring some of those people back in, and I'm really excited about that part of tonight, to have a chance to hear from them directly and even share with you guys all a little bit more about my own personal experiences with clinic. So I'm glad you touched on that. And the other part of what you were talking about that I thought was incredibly powerful is the concept of global health in our backyard. Here, you know, at UC Davis, that's been such a big part of what student-run clinics more generally have been so much of a focus for our communities, where we're bringing in doctors, we're bringing medical students and other professional students to this university, to this city, because of places like Shifa, because of opportunities to learn with diverse communities, learn with the community where you can see, you know, a Hispanic patient who speaks Portuguese or Spanish or a multitude of languages, and right, you know, afterwards you're seeing someone who speaks Arabic or Farsi or Urdu, and you know, working with folks who speak, you know, Russian and Ukrainian, and just such a diverse kind of, you know, community that we've developed both in our providers and our volunteers and also our patients. And it's really a beautiful opportunity to see all those things come together. We're going to hopefully continue to touch on that tonight. One thing I wanted to touch on, you know, for our donation perspective again, is as we think about this, I want us to really focus on the concept of, you know, donating what we can tonight. You know, we talked about our big goals for tonight. We want to raise $100,000, but really what we want to do is have this be an opportunity for each of us to contribute that we're able to contribute. You know, if you tonight you're you know, believing in what we're sharing, believing in our dream and our project here, we're hoping you're able to share as much as you're comfortable with. To give you some perspective, you know, something as small as a $50 donation is going to be something that can go towards getting a blood pressure cuff for a patient. If you're able to donate $100, we can get a glucometer, we can get test strips, we can help someone with diabetes. As we, you know, if you're able to donate just $200 for us, that's able to support one patient's imaging studies for the year. And as we think about being able to go beyond that, really, you know, we're going to talk about this throughout the night, but really we have big dreams and lofty goals of being able to expand our clinic, to be able to provide, much more in terms of services, and also goals that we need to reach realistically to continue to provide that which we've provided so far, both as a clinical provider, but also as a learning pipeline. And at this point, we want to bring in a couple of folks that want to share some of their experiences as learners and what they've been able to do with their Shifa and how that's impacted their trajectories.
All right, thank you for that very insightful conversation about Shifa's community and its purpose. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan and Dr. Ann, for that. Like Dr. Khan was saying, global health is truly in our backyard, and even something like a $50 donation can allow a huge change in our patient population and in our community. Now, speaking of Shifa's community, we're going to go ahead and move on to our alumni section. The alumni of Shifa Community Clinic are extremely valuable to us here at Shifa. They were undergrad volunteers that dedicated hours of their time throughout their undergraduate time to our clinic. And you'll see how they keep giving back to Shifa and the community as a whole. So our very first alumni speaker, it is my honor to introduce Zirik Iqbal, a previous volunteer for Shifa, and I'm going to go ahead and let him speak on his experiences.
Thank you, Vijay. So during my time at Shifa, I had the privilege of meeting so many unique patients, one of whom was actually an elder Middle Eastern gentleman who frequently visited the clinic. Although he spoke very limited English, he loved interacting with our volunteers and medical students. His heart was so attached to the clinic itself that he always used to give whatever he could to thank us, even more than he could afford to. Now, I mention this because this man made most of his living selling boxes of dates and little snacks and treats at a local mosque here in Sacramento. I remember seeing him on Friday at the mosque, sitting at his stall, huge smile on his face, interacting with the local youth and community members. On Sunday of that same week, I would see him at clinic, donating the same money he made a few days prior, and even occasionally give a full boxes of dates to thank Dr. Yasmin, our staff, and our volunteers. This was a man who truly gave more than he could, not only because that's the kind of person he was, but especially since he understood the importance of Shifa. This past year, he returned to his Lord and is no longer with us, unfortunately. And so I ask that you please keep him in your prayers and du'as. I also ask that you please donate as much as you can in honor of him to preserve his legacy. If our patients go above and beyond to support our clinic, then we, the community, should be inspired to do more as well. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, thank you so much, Zirik, for that very insightful story on our patients and our population. You have truly done so much for them, and we truly appreciate you. Our next alumni speaker is Elizabeth Picasso, and I'm going to go ahead and let her speak on her time at Shifa as well.
Thank you, Vijay. When I think back to my time with Shifa, the first piece of advice I received from an older volunteer was that you should always give to Shifa what you will, and you should expect to get that back. This is probably one of the most important pieces of wisdom that shaped how I approach my life and how I approach medicine today. I would add, however, that I received much more from Shifa than I can ever hope to give, though I may try. The first thing that comes to mind is the amazing volunteers who became my family. They are some of the most compassionate and caring individuals I had the privilege to meet. They not only care about their communities and our patients, but I can also count on them to help me navigate college, support me through my journey to medicine, and to lean on them when my world was crashing down around me. I grew to be wiser and a leader with their guidance and made it a goal to do the same for newer volunteers during my undergraduate career. I continue to pass on these lessons I learned to hopefully shape many future leaders within Shifa through the Alumni Board. Shifa has shaped my life and the lives of many current and future healthcare leaders, public health experts, scientists, and globally conscious citizens. This enriching and family-like environment needs support to continue to shape the future of medicine and honestly the world. Shifa is home for many, so please donate and join our Shifa family.
Thank you, Elizabeth, for that very inspiring message on Shifa Community Clinic. Now I'm going to go ahead and dive into our third alumni speaker, Jiwon Kim. She's going to go ahead and speak on her perspectives on Shifa Clinic.
Hi, everyone. It's really honored to be here. So my name is Jiwon Kim. I'm a first-year medical student at Medical College of Wisconsin. So I was part of Shifa for about 3 years, and my time at Shifa has been the most influential experience that I've ever had. It helped shape my core values and the vision for my future. So personally, I come from immigrant family and my mom has language and cultural barriers. Unfortunately, we experienced the neglect of care that sometimes the minority and underrepresented patients also experience as well. But when I started volunteering in the clinic, it showed me the other side of medicine. I've witnessed the power of compassion, the strength of community by the ways in which our team interacted and built rapport with our patients, the ways our patients showed and expressed their gratitude and their trust. Every day I walked into the clinic, I was inspired, humbled, and driven to do more and be better. The time I've spent and interacted with the patients or family instilled in me this core value of service, and it still serves as my life compass. With that, I joined the Shifa Alumni Board to help guide our volunteers so they could have a productive and meaningful journey to medicine. To me, overall, the clinic represents a place that uplifts one another, cultivate a sense of community and growth. Here, our patients receive very comfortable and compassionate care, while our volunteers, like my former self, receive support and opportunity to grow. Your donation today will help our clinic to continue to serve our patients and provide the best quality care. And I know that it is a difficult time for everyone, and everyone is going through a difficult time in your own way. But your donation will mean the world to us, and you will help build a stronger and healthier community. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jiwon, for speaking on your experiences at Shifa. And, once again, we have a another very special alumni here, Hiba Humadi. So I'll let her take it from here and speak on her experiences as well.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hiba, and I was blessed to have served this community for more than 4 years now. Since then, I've gotten to connect with and learn so much more about our immigrant community. We've seen what they go through, from food insecurity to unemployment to being at risk for eviction, especially during these COVID times. It breaks my heart to see them sacrifice their physical health just to be able to afford these basic necessities. And unfortunately, health insurance has become more of a luxury than a human right here in this country. So it's our job to support Shifa and their effort in not only providing these essential healthcare services, but to provide them in a way that is culturally sensitive to their needs. I can't imagine a better organization to donate to, especially since they are seeing patients from all ethnic backgrounds, from all the other Sunnah clinics right now. So you can see that the demand for our services are high, and the only way that we can continue to provide these services is with your contribution.
All right, thank you so much, Hiba, for those insights on Shifa. And now I'm going to bring in our final alumni speaker, Farsan Faraj. She's going to go ahead and talk about her experiences with Shifa as well.
Hi, everyone. So 7 years ago, I walked into Shifa as a young undergraduate student who knew she wanted to be a physician, but no idea what it truly meant to be one. I had no mentors, no upperclassmen to look up to, and no idea how I was going to make my lifelong dream to serve my community as a physician come true. That all changed when I stepped into the doors of Shifa Community Clinic for the first time. I began volunteering at Shifa with the hopes to give back and learn about medicine from the community I grew up with, but every day I left with so much more. Our patients taught us more than we provided for them, and when I graduated from college, I made it my dream to come back to serve Shifa as both a medical student and eventually as a physician. The first time I saw a patient as a medical student at Shifa, my patient looked at me and told me they remembered me from somewhere. That somewhere had been Shifa, and she remembered me during my time as an undergraduate. She congratulated me on my achievement and told me she was proud of me. For me, coming back to serve our patients as a medical student was a dream which oftentimes felt unattainable and impossible, and making it here has been the most reaffirming and rewarding experience of my career thus far. At Shifa, our doors are open to the underserved and uninsured population of Sacramento, people who often have nowhere else to go. We operate out of combined apartment buildings that have transformed into a small but mighty clinic that serves hundreds of patients. With your donations, you are not only providing an opportunity for our community's most vulnerable patients, but investing in the future of medicine. Hundreds of undergraduate and medical student volunteers come through the doors of Shifa Clinic and learn the fundamentals of medicine. The clinic shapes some of our first experiences many of us have with medicine and provides motivation for our future goals. Without the Shifa Clinic, I would not be the provider I am today. I sincerely hope you consider donating to our clinic. Thank you.
All right, I just want to say thank you to all of our alumni speakers. You are all truly extremely valuable to us here at Shifa. You know, those hours of your time that you've put in throughout your undergraduate or even, you know, medical school time here, it really means the world to us. And we truly appreciate you all and wish you all the best for your future endeavors. So I just wanted to update everyone on everything right now. So we are currently at $40,000 in donations right now pledged. I just want to express how grateful I am to each and every one of you for donating, you know, for taking the time to call in and donate. And, you know, we're still going. So you can, you know, you see those QR codes at the bottom left and right hand of your screen, one for PayPal, one for Venmo. I still highly encourage everyone to, you know, just take a picture of that QR code. Even $5, $10 truly helps our cause so much. And I just want to say how grateful I am for every single one of you for donating thus far. All right, so now I want to bring in our second keynote speaker, Mr. Bassem Alkara. He is the Executive Director of Care in the Sacramento Valley. He's going to go ahead and talk about Shifa Community Clinic, what it means to him, and his you know, mission, philosophy, and insights on the clinic as well. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum, dear community. Peace be upon you. So excited to be with you for the annual Shifa Banquet, an event I look forward to every year. Shifa has a special place in my heart for so many reasons. First, it empowers so many undergrad students that are interested in the field of medicine. Shifa becomes a family, a place where you feel you can help some of the most marginalized in our community. Members of our community that otherwise would not seek medical treatment. Shifa helps these students get into top medical programs around the nation. It instills in these students a sense of humbleness, a sense of purpose, making these students realize that they're not in this field to make money or a profit, but they're in this field to follow a prophet. May the peace and blessings of the All-Merciful be upon him. Shifa is an important part of our tradition, a tradition of giving back to society. There are thousands of Muslims practicing medicine around the nation. A few years ago, The Economist magazine said that 10% of doctors in the US are Muslim. Now, I don't know where they got that number from, but we all know that there's thousands of Muslims around the US. You'll find Muslim doctors in the most remote parts of our country. And let me tell you how important that is. I've heard so many stories of how Muslim doctors named Muhammad, Ali, Hassan, Fatima, Aisha, saving people's lives in the most conservative parts of our nation. And these people say, I don't know much about Islam, but my Dr. Muhammad saved my life. My brothers and sisters, this is a field that brings so much benefit to our nation, our society, and our community. My friends, Shifa helps saves people's lives. They serve people from every walk of life. 32% Hispanic, 40% South Asian, 16% African American. When they push members of our community to have a lifestyle change, to tackle diabetes, depression, or other mental health ailments, chronic disease management, and so many other health issues, they are literally saving people's lives, helping keep families together. Let's look at type 2 diabetes. Someone asked a top medical researcher on diabetes at UCSF, who happens to be Indian American. You know, got to show love to our Desi MDs. And the man asked, what is the most cutting edge thing in type 2 diabetes? The doctor said, if I tell you, you're going to laugh. It's walking 10,000 steps a day. My friends, I hope all of you walk daily. To practice what I preach, I wanted to walk this morning. Brisk walking. Walking is one of the best treatments for depression, especially walking in a natural environment, in the park, around the trees, around a lake or river. The Arabs have a proverb that says, brisk walking is a treatment that never fails. We also have these lines of poetry that address this. ثلاثة تجري على الوجه الحزن الماء والخضراء والوجه الحسن. 3 things wipe away from a sad face: water, greenery, and a beautiful face. So when you're with your spouse and you say these lines of poetry, make sure you tell them that this beautiful face that this poetry is talking about is them. Our tradition is beautiful, and the Shifa team follows in this beautiful tradition. Teaching a healthy diet is sunnah. Now fasting is in. Well, our Prophet taught that. And walking is in. The Prophet walked and encouraged a healthy diet and regular exercise. The Prophet wrestled and never lost. We need to set an example, and that's what Shifa is doing, following in our beautiful Islamic tradition. We have to be proud of Shifa and proud of the Islamic health tradition and its impact on the world. I remember when I first moved to Sacramento, Dr. Mathis was speaking at the annual Shifa banquet in the courtyard of the V Street Masjid. And Dr. Mathis was the head of ophthalmology at UC Davis. He was telling the story of how over 1,000 years ago, Muslim ophthalmologists were doing advanced cataract surgeries that still baffle people today. Muslims were the first to use vaccinations. In the 1700s, Lady Montagu, the wife of the British ambassador to the Ottoman Empire in Istanbul, noticed that the Ottoman women at the bathhouses didn't have pox skin. In England at the time, it was common for women to have the effects of smallpox on their skin. She asked the women, doesn't anyone here get smallpox? They replied, we treat our young ones. She asked, how? How do you do that? They used to give children some of the pox and they would get a mild version of it and they would get immunity to it. She then took that back to England. And so it was Muslims that started vaccinations. But please don't tell the anti-vaxxers that. We don't want to increase in Islamophobia. Now I'll end with this. You all know the hard work the Shifa Clinic team does to heal and empower our community. But in order to do this, they need financial resources. And that's why we're here tonight. Please reach deep in your pockets and support the important effort that shows our fellow Americans the best of what we can give. MashaAllah, over the years, you never let Shifa down. Tonight, we ask to reach deeper in your pocketbooks and send a strong message to Shifa and all the amazing people that work and volunteer there. We appreciate the culturally sensitive care that you provide and that you can always count on us to support. May the All-Merciful bless everyone tuning in and everyone that supports this amazing effort. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Bassam Al-Khara, for that very powerful message. We're going to go ahead and dive in now to Dr. Hamad Khan again. He's going to go ahead and talk about our donation amounts and our goal thus far. And then we're going to go ahead and jump into our next segment with some more Shifa alumni. So I'll let him take it from here.
Thanks, Vijay, and thank you, Bassam, for that incredible reflection on just the role that we've seen healthcare and medicine play within our tradition and our history. And it's incredible because I had the opportunity to work with Bassam while working at CARE and working underneath him. And I really look up to him as a mentor. And Bassam's work there was so incredible when he'd go to communities, different churches, different openings in the community where people wanted to learn. And Bassam would share with them about the impact that our community is having, not only in our community here in Sacramento, but historically. And he would talk about these things with people that had never learned or never even thought that there was this vast history of medicine within our tradition, that there was this history of accomplishing so much and being at the forefront of so many of these sciences for centuries ago. And the impact that it would have in terms of opening eyes and getting people excited to learn more was incredible. And I had the opportunity to work with CARE, and we brought these messages and we told them about the work we're doing here at Shifa. When we went and spoke to people at the Capitol here in Sacramento, we got to speak to them. When we went to Washington, D.C., and we talked to your members of Congress, your representatives in our federal government, we told them about the work that was happening here in Sacramento. And they reflected to us that, we know that the Sacramento immigrant community, the minority community, the Muslim community here in Sacramento is active. It's giving, is passionate about its causes. And it was incredible to hear that from those of us, who are talking to people, and those of people who are in the highest levels of power. And we're hoping that we're going to continue that momentum forward. That's why I'm really excited to announce that we're halfway to our goal. We set a big goal of $100,000 today, and we're more than $50,000 in at this point. So we're really thankful and appreciative of what you guys are doing. And we want to continue to ask you to give, for those of us who have donated already tonight, to continue to give a little bit more. Whatever contribution you make tonight is going to go an incredibly long way in terms of supporting these causes, supporting our patients and the folks that we serve, supporting our students and our learners, and also our community more generally. One of the opportunities that we have is, again, it's going to be on the screen right now. I know we have some people that are joining, throughout the event. So on screen right now, you have QR codes. So you're able to take your camera phone, and if you just open your camera, bring it up to the screen right now, the QR code is going to open up a link where you can donate. On the left, we have PayPal. On the right, we have Venmo. If we have questions or if you have contact information that you'd like to access and be able to, get a little bit more information, if you want to have other ways to donate, those are all available on our website, which we're going to be posting links to throughout the event. At this time, we also want to recognize two of our really incredible donors who have given year after year. Brother Case Manufi, who's an incredible leader in our community, has donated $5,000, and we thank you, Brother Case, for what you do, not only for Shifa Clinic and our efforts here as someone who's donating and financially supporting us, but also with your leadership, your vision, and time again, being such a great asset to our community locally. We also want to thank Selmi Huck, who's made a $15,000 contribution tonight. And, may Allah bless you and your family and continue to empower you to give to our causes that have so much of an impact on our community. And for the rest of everyone else who's been donating tonight, know that you're going to be remembered in our prayers and our du'as, and we're going to really continue to appreciate everything that you're doing to continue to serve these important causes. At this time, I want to bring in a really good friend of mine who I actually haven't had a chance to see in a really long time. This is Dr. Fadi Musa Ibrahim. He is an Oakland native, a UC Davis alum, and also somebody who was very, very well known to the Shifa community for a long time. When I first joined Shifa Clinic, Fadi was one of our more of our senior volunteers at the time, and I got to learn a lot from him and had just an incredible experience working with him back in the day. So, Fadi, it's great to see you again. We're really excited to have you today. And I think Fadi, we're getting his video back on right now. I know he's on call tonight at the hospital. There we go. Welcome, Salam.
Long time no see, man.
It's good to see you. How are you doing? I can hear you. I can hear you pretty clearly. There we go.
Alhamdulillah, doing well.
I'm hearing you're out in Chicago now, right?
Yeah, I'm finishing up a residency here. And inshallah, trying to come back to the West Coast soon.
Inshallah, man. Inshallah, we're excited that you're able to join us tonight. We're hoping that you can just reflect a little bit about your experiences at clinic. It's clear that you've gone on and done amazing things since being here, and you obviously did great stuff while you were here at clinic. Can you share a little bit about some of the lessons that you learned from clinic and how that's even impacted your journey, and how it continues to maybe contribute to the work you're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always, medicine was always on the front runner for me in regards of career-wise, but it wasn't really solidified until I joined Shifa Clinic 2007, 2008, something like that. Really long time. And I remember just going there Saturday mornings, and the line would be out to around the gate. I don't know what it looks like now, but around the masjid. But and people, it was just amazing the work we were able to do, and none of these people had insurance, and just the appreciation that just it warmed my heart every time I was there, and just the difference making as a 19-year-old, a 20-year-old in the medical field, things that I'm doing now. Wow, I was doing some of this stuff, in undergrad, which was such a grateful experience, and it just continued my drive and motivation to pursue medicine. And I didn't have the most direct route to medicine. I did a lot of things in between, but Shifa was the main reason why there was no other career for me except to become a doctor.
That's incredible. And I remember those back, this is going back a little while and long before the world of COVID, but we would show up in the mornings and there would be this line from the front door of clinic. And for those people who have driven down B Street, the front door of clinic all the way to the street is probably close to 30, 40 yards or so. And there's a line of folks going from that front door, sometimes all the way to the street. And I remember showing up at 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. and starting just to figure out, why are people here? How can we help them? Who can we see today? And who we can connect with other resources. I think that imagery alone is just so powerful when it comes to talking about the need in Sacramento for the service, for the need of, what we're doing and what we're providing. And, it is just such a powerful image when you get to see that in person. As you think about it, you're all the way in Chicago now, and I think you're doing neurology out there, and it's obviously something that is, continue to be a part of your passion for it. How do you think it's informing the work that you're hoping to do down the road? What are your long-term goals? And do you think that your experiences at Shifa has helped kind of shape that?
Oh, absolutely. Like one of my things that I've always wanted to do is once I become an attending or live closer to, going back to California, not even, doesn't have to be in California, just a community clinic, definitely being a part of that, either an administrative role or, just like kind of guidance to help shape it if in somewhere else. And then inshallah, like down the line, if I'm back in California, like even participate, be as much care that I can, because, a lot of the times the resources are not there. And Shifa does a great job in, getting these preceptors to come in and providing the healthcare. I remember one of the most disheartening moments I had at clinic was having to turn somebody away because of just limited resources and stuff like that. It was disheartening, but there wasn't any other choice. I mean, unfortunately, it wasn't life-threatening or anything like that, but these patients a lot of times we'll wait there 3-4 hours, and then at come 2-3 o'clock, it's like, we're getting ready to close, and we have to tear them down. And those were the most disheartening moments. And then those were the moments that also kind of motivated me to kind of continue what we do and try to make it better, where we don't have to turn down those patients and stuff like that. And mashallah, Shifa has become, since I remember, it continues to grow, and it's really grateful to see that, to kind of see the growth and the need for the community grows. So obviously it's great that Shifa's kind of coming along as well.
That's awesome, Fadi. And I think what you're speaking to is such a shared experience. I think for so many people come into Shifa, as an undergrad, you're a couple of years out of high school, you maybe just a year out of high school, and you're getting to see health disparities face to face. You're getting to see what it looks like when, you don't have access to some of the care and some of the places and resources that many of us are blessed and privileged to have access to. And it's really illuminating and eye-opening when you see that, right in front of you like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, thanks for joining us today, Fadi. I know you're very busy, and I know you're on call tonight too. So I really appreciate you taking a couple of minutes out. And it's really good to see you. And we're really hoping that you're able to come back and come to Shifa and continue to be a part of this project and this mission that so many of us share. Throughout this night, we're hoping to bring in a lot of different folks in different parts of the Shifa community, and it's great to start off with someone who's really had a lasting impression.
No, it was, like I said, it wouldn't. My experience there has kind of shaped me to where I've become now, and in regards to volunteering and just being there, that Shifa part of the community was experience, and she always was motivating and pushing me to kind of do well as well.
Definitely. So thanks for joining us. I know we're going to be moving into our next portion pretty soon. We're doing a really exciting part of the night as we're doing our auction fundraiser. But what I want to highlight is something that Fadi brought up, which is really important and part of our mission and part of the pipeline that we were talking about. We're developing people that come from our communities here in Sacramento and California more broadly, and we're sending them all over the country. We have people who have matched for residencies and med school, and people at Yale, at UCSF, at Harvard, at some of the biggest institutions. We have people on the East Coast in New York, and folks who are settling down in Chicago and all over California, and pretty much everywhere in between. And like I mentioned earlier, they're not only folks that are impacting healthcare. People are going to the corporate world, into the legal world, and the lessons that we're learning when it comes to recognizing disparity as a reality, recognizing that these are things that we have to be passionate and we have to be active about promoting. Those are incredible lessons that we learn here at Shifa. And the work we're doing is continue to challenge those outcomes. So right now we got another fundraising update going into our next fundraising section, and we've crossed over $55,000, which is incredibly exciting again. And we're really, really thankful for everyone who's donating. And we're going to ask you to continue to keep the momentum going. We've got a goal of $100,000 for tonight. We're a little over halfway there. And we're going to ask you guys to, give as much as you can, donate as much as you can, because this is something that we're really passionate about. Next, we're going to go ahead and give it back to VJ.
All right, thank you, Dr. Khan and Fadi, for that insightful conversation and talking about your experiences at Shifa Community Clinic. As you can see, Shifa is truly life-changing for both our volunteers and our patients. And to talk more about how you can change these patients' lives and give them the care that they need, I'm going to bring in a fellow Shifa volunteer to talk about our silent auction and the instructions on bidding as well.
Thank you, Vijay, and thank you all for joining us today. I'd like to take a quick moment to speak to you all about the silent auction happening right now. You can head on over to 32auctions.com/Shifa Community Banquet, or you can scan the QR code on your phone for easy access. Once you are on the site and see something you are interested in, we have two options for you to place a bid. You can place your bid directly on the website after you have made an account. If you would like to watch a tutorial on how to make an account and bid on the site, there is a QR code on the left-hand side that will lead you to a YouTube tutorial. Or if you are more comfortable, you can contact us and we'll be able to place those bids for you. After the auction ends, if you are the finalized winner, an undergrad volunteer will follow up with you in regards to payment and delivery options. So please do not send in any payment for auction items until contacted. You can contact us at any of these numbers if you prefer to call in a bid or if you'd like to make a donation. If you are calling the clinic phones at 916-441-6008 or 916-803-1987, feel free to leave a voicemail and we can get back to you. These numbers presented are on the auction site as well. Online bidding will be ending at 8 p.m. and the option to call in your bid will be ending at 7 p.m. So please be sure to head on over to the auction site and check it out. There are some amazing pieces I'm certain you wouldn't want to miss out on.
All right, thank you, Ayantu, for those instructions. Like she said, it's very, very easy to join in on this auction and give back to our patients. I highly, highly encourage everyone to join in. We're having such a good momentum thus far. And like Dr. Khan said, we have a goal of $100,000 and we're so thankful for everyone's donations thus far. And we'd love to reach that goal. So, speaking of giving back to our patients, I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Zahid Iqbal speak on our clinic expenses and how we're planning to truly transform and give back in this upcoming year for Shifa. So I'm going to go ahead and let him take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Dr. Zahid Iqbal. I'm an internal medicine physician here in Sacramento. I'm also the Chief Financial Officer of Shifa Community Clinic. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for our annual banquet. It is really an honor for me to be part of this amazing organization for the past 15 years. My journey into medicine actually started here at Shifa Clinic 15 years ago when I was a student. And it always re-energizes me when I come back and precept and volunteer with the students because it reminds me of why I went into medicine in the first place. Shifa Clinic serves as a launching pad into healthcare fields for so many students like myself. I would not have been where I am if it was not for my experience here at Shifa Clinic. As a preceptor now, it is very humbling for me to be able to provide healthcare services to the most needy in our community. Some of the patients that we serve here have been coming here for the past 15, 20 years. And it tells you how critical Shifa Clinic is for our community and to serve the most needy in our area. Over the next year, our goal is to expand our services even more and try to open the clinic more days a week so we can provide more services. And we're working on renovation of the clinic. Currently, we're upgrading the heating and air conditioning system. So we will be getting a new HVAC system as well as upgrading the electrical panels. And the cost for this is approximately $64,000. And so we're counting on your generous support tonight to be able to help us reach our goal tonight and be able to serve our community. Thank you so much for your generosity. Jazakallah khair.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Iqbal, for talking about the renovations of clinic. We truly appreciate everyone's donations thus far. So right now I'm going to go ahead and introduce, it is my honor to introduce Mr. Qais Manoufi. He is an esteemed community board member of Shifa Community Clinic. He has done amazing things for Shifa, and I'll let him take it from here. All right, thank you so much, Dr. Iqbal, for talking about the renovations of clinic. We truly appreciate everyone's donations thus far. So right now I'm going to go ahead and introduce, it is my honor to introduce Mr. Qais Manoufi. He is an esteemed community board member of Shifa Community Clinic. He has done amazing things for Shifa, and I'll let him take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you hear me now.
Talking about the renovations. We truly appreciate everyone's donations thus far. So right now I'm going to go ahead and introduce, it is my honor to introduce Mr. Qais Manoufi. He is an amazing. I'll let him take it.
Do you hear me now, please? Assalamu alaikum. I'm not sure if you hear me or not.
Hi, Mr. Manoufi, can you hear me?
Please let me know if you hear me.
All right, it looks like we just had a little bit of technical difficulties with Mr. Manoufi. We'll go ahead and bring him in at a later time, but he has done amazing things for Shifa Clinic, and he will go ahead and speak on those amazing things that he's done so far. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next portion of our banquet. So we'll go ahead and get into a very, very well done video by a fellow UC Davis student. This video will be talking about all the amazing things that Shifa has done so far, all the accomplishments of Shifa, and what we strive to be in the future as well. So I'll go ahead and let that video play right now.
Breaking news in the killing of George Floyd.
George Floyd repeatedly told the officers that he could not breathe.
State resident fell ill after returning from Wuhan, China, where the outbreak began.
They will continue to monitor him as well as the healthcare providers and patients he came into contact with after testing positive for the coronavirus.
The novel coronavirus pandemic has stretched healthcare systems to the brink. COVID-19 might be getting all the headlines, but patients are still getting sick from other diseases and injuries, and that's left doctors looking for other ways to treat them while minimizing contact. Enter telemedicine.
After COVID-19, a lot of the student-run clinics had to close, and that was devastating for everyone in our community.
For those of you who do not know, Shifa Community Clinic is one of UC Davis's 9 student-run clinics that provides health services to those who don't have health insurance and to the underserved populations of Sacramento.
In the years that I've been practicing here, I've seen just how critical the clinic has become to our broader community. Patients come here for preventative care, cancer screening. They can get their blood tests drawn right here in the clinic and get x-ray and radiologic studies. The clinic provides counseling in many, many different languages. And it also provides a gateway to other services in the community. So it really provides crucial support. But most of all, beyond providing medical care and counseling, the clinic serves as a place for support, a place for reassurance, a place where patients can get not just the care that they need, but the feeling of stability.
Through the work of the undergrads at Shifa, through the work of the medical students at UC Davis, Shifa became the first clinic to reopen to see patients in person.
Hi, everybody. So I'm Richard Kravitz. It's supposed to be, how do we reintegrate into society? That's all about safety.
Las gracias otra vez a la comunidad, a la clínica de la comunidad Shifa por organizar estos seminarios.
things I love about Shifa Clinic is ability to teach medical students and touch so many souls at personal level. I truly believe that by sharing our resources, our wealth, our knowledge, they only increase when you give, when you learn, teach.
And this is mostly when we give back to others, when we do something that we feel of meaning. I cannot find something that's more of meaning in my life than interacting with the young people that are the future healthcare providers, interacting with people who do need our services, and maybe they were not fortunate enough to be able to afford it. As you know, Shifa is a resource for members in the community, regardless of where they come from, what language they speak, what religion they follow, to receive the most important basic primary healthcare needs.
Public health work, I know that providing culturally appropriate care keeps the entire community healthy, particularly during these times. I also mentor students, and I know that they have a great interest in global health. As Muslims, I believe in Shifa's model of serving all our community, no matter who the patients may be.
These patients have very few options or other places to turn to. When you delve deeper, you hear stories of struggle and hardship. Many of our patients have lost their jobs and no longer have health insurance. Many are immigrants or undocumented immigrants who simply have nowhere else to go.
Shifa Clinic has been serving uninsured population since last 18 years, and we are so lucky that our son is also part of this facility. We really appreciate all the doctors and volunteers for their continued help, even in this pandemic. Please try to help Shifa Clinic so they can continue their job.
My sons shared my passion for serving the community, and Shifa Clinic provided them a chance to do so, where they both volunteered as UC Davis undergrads. I remember how devoted and enthusiastic they were during the entire time, always eager and excited to learn something new every week. This truly strengthened their desire to become doctors, and they not only learned about medicine, but also understood the needs of the community by volunteering there. My husband and I are incredibly grateful to Dr. Yasmin and have no doubt in saying that our sons would not be where they are today without her guidance and Shifa Clinic. Indeed, Dr. Yasmin is the backbone of this clinic. Her dedication and leadership in uniting students, doctors, and community members are exemplary.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I wanted to speak to you about shifaclinic.org. Shifa Clinic in Sacramento, California, United States of America. Alhamdulillah, I'm humbled and honored to be invited to contribute to their 18th annual banquet, which is where they really raise a lot of the funds that they need to operate for the course of the year.
The pilot clinic has been a goal of ours, and we had our first opening weekend last weekend. We saw a total of 12 patients over the weekend, and everyone was very grateful. Everyone did a great job between medical students, faculty, and undergraduates. Everybody has been putting an incredible amount of work for the past 5 months to get these pilot clinics going. And if I can ask one thing of you, is to get us some more resources, because the more resources we have, the less patients we have to see in person physically, and the further we can limit the spread of COVID while still giving quality care to our patients.
Thank you all for joining us at the Shifa donation banquet. If you support Shifa and if you support our cause, please consider donating, because every dollar matters and every dollar goes to the community. I do urge each one of you to be part of this movement. Support Shifa patients. So even if you're covering the cost of treatment for one patient.
Join me in supporting Shifa Clinic, especially during this pandemic when the help is needed the most.
All right, so what an amazing video and what an amazing message. It truly highlights how Shifa has impacted our patient population, and how we at Shifa have adapted to these changes in the world. Because of COVID, we've been able to offer this very necessary help to the community through telemedicine and our upcoming pilot clinic, which is, the introduction of clinic, through this pandemic. In these times of need, Shifa was able to open safely and give back to our patients safely. Now, I highly encourage all of you to help us in this endeavor and give back to our patients. In this time where our patients need it the most, every dollar matters and every dollar goes back to the community. So now it is my honor to introduce once again Mr. Kais Manufi. He's an esteemed board member of Shifa Community Clinic, and he's going to go ahead and talk about our clinic and his mission and philosophy as well. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you hear me good now. We've been trying to do that test. So, Jay, do you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Manufi, we can hear you. Do you mind just turning up your audio just a little bit higher so we can go ahead and hear what you have to say? Or just speak a little bit louder so that we can hear what you have to say. Yes, Mr. Manufi, we can hear you. Do you mind just turning up your audio just a little bit higher so we can go ahead and hear what you have to say?
Do you hear me now?
Or just speak a little bit louder so that we can hear what you have to say.
Is this better now? Is this better? Is this better, PJ? Can you please just share with
Yes, Mr. Manufi, we can hear you. Do you mind just turning up your audio just a little bit higher so we can go ahead and hear what you have to say?
I'm having to the high. Hear me now? I'm having to the highs.
Or just speak a little bit louder so that we can hear what you have to say.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. I actually want to say that I am offering to match 20% of any new donations coming from the audience today. And
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Manufi. Sorry, we're just having a little bit of technical difficulties, but basically what Mr. Manufi was saying is that Mr. Manufi will match 20% of any donation that is donated from here on out. So we truly encourage everyone to donate and get us to our goal of $100,000. Mr. Manufi is just, another, kind, generous person who is helping us reach our goal. So truly appreciate that and highly encourage everyone to donate as well. So now it is my honor to introduce our next speaker, Sheikh Yahya Adel Ibrahim. He is an Islamic chaplain of Curtin University. He will go ahead and talk about his philosophy, mission, and how it ties in with Shifa Community Clinic and our patient population. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله حمد الشاكرين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. Welcome, 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 my dear brothers and sisters, coming to you all the way from Perth, Western Australia, which is the west coast of Australia. I know you west coasters, you got your own little groove and thing going on, mashallah. We also got a little bit of a hippie vibe over here in WA. We're the envy of the rest of Australia. It gives me great honor and privilege, alhamdulillah, to be able to connect to you, even though it's virtually from so far away. And I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala joins our hearts and our commitment in helping the needy, assisting the weak, and being means for the cure of the ailing and the infirm. Allahumma ameen. First, let me congratulate Shifa Clinic for so many wonderful years. I believe this is the 18th annual gathering where, alhamdulillah, you're coming together in collaboration and in assistance of the weak. So I wanted to tell you a story. The Prophet ﷺ, it's an authentic hadith. The Prophet ﷺ was a gifted storyteller, peace and blessings be upon him. And the Quran, of course, the context of the Quran, there are qasas. There are narratives told in the statements of stories to give us a greater incitement, a morality, and a moral understanding of some of our duties and obligations towards Allah. And one of these stories, and they usually begin with the Prophet ﷺ saying, "Kana fi man kana qablakum," in a time before your time and amongst the people before our people. There was rajul, there was an individual, a man who was well known in his society. He was well known for his religious knowledge, well known for his piety, well known for his wealth. He was a person who stood out as a peer amongst others, amongst other peers in his society. But this man who from the outside seemed to have everything right in his life, inside there were certain things that he couldn't help himself with. And each and every one of us, and it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a lawyer or a pauper or a, whatever you are, whatever social status, whatever affluence, whatever educational background, whatever cultural, ethnic, political, affiliation, all of us, as complete as we are, there's a gap. There's something missing. So this man, he has just about everything that anyone would desire, but there's something missing that he stays awake at night, unable to solve it for himself. So this particular individual, he says, tonight I'm going to solve my problem. I'm going atanakkaru fi thiyabi. I'm going to change the way my clothing looks, meaning that my regal clothing, my scholarly clothing, my clothing that mark me, that people from a distance say, hey, that's Yahya. I'm going to take that off and I'm going to put other clothing. وَأُلَثِّمُ وَجْهِي. I'm going to veil my face. I'm going to cover my face. And I'm going to go to the other end of the city, to a different part of the city where I'm not living in it. I'm not as known. It's not the marketplace that I normally shop into. And in a moonless, dark night, the depth of the night, سَأَتَصَدَّقُ. I'm going to give charity to somebody who is out at night, who doesn't have a place to be. And his assumption is that whoever is out at that time is there for a reason, that there's something that's driven them out at that period of time, which is common. So he goes out and he enters into that distant part of the city. فَالْتَمَسَ نَفَرًا. As he's walking, he bumped into someone in the darkness of the night, moonless. Nobody can see who the next is. And as he bumped into someone, he said, تَصَدَّقْتُ عَلَيْكَ. I give you charity. And he gave it to them and ran away, because he wants to be sincere. He wants to do something good for somebody else, that perhaps in changing somebody else's life, changing somebody else's circumstance, that will reflect in his betterment, in his welfare, in his happiness, in his completion, that in my life I'll be able to then proceed with good, or Allah will send someone to help me. So he gave that charity with ikhlas. I don't want that person to know who I am. And he leaves. And the next morning, when he wakes up, he's feeling good. He's had a good night's sleep for the first time in many, many days. He wakes up, he's happy, he's energetic, and he hears that there's whispers going around the city. The media, everybody's circulating that something massive happened yesterday. And he said, what happened? قالوا تصدق البارحة على سارق. Somebody gave charity last night to a thief, to an armed robber. Somebody gave charity by giving that man money who was just about to rob them. And he understood that that's him. So there's this person sitting in the dark, waiting for this guy. He sees him coming, and he's like, I'm going to rob this fool. And as he's coming over, he's just about to say, give me your money or I'm going to take your life. The man says, here, I give you some charity, and leaves. And he goes back to his 40 thieves, and he's like, guess what? This incredible story. And everybody's talking about it. So the man, this righteous man, he says, لا يقبل الله الصدقة على. Allah doesn't accept a charity to a thief. I gotta try again. The next night, does the same thing, goes to another distant part of the city, and he gives charity. And as he gives charity, the next morning, people are talking over, oh my God, it happened again. What happened? تصدق البارحة أعزكم الله على عاهرة. Somebody gave charity. May Allah honor us and protect our wives, mothers, daughters, our sisters in Islam, our sisters in humanity. Somebody gave charity to a woman of the night. And he said, well, that's even worse, right? Because that's how our minds kind of think, right? We kind of, she's actually a victim as well. So he gave charity to this person, and he said, well, that's, first a thief, now a lady of the night. So the next night, he goes, I'm going to go again. He gives charity. Everybody the next morning, somebody gave charity لِغَنِيِّنَا, to the richest man in the city. He stopped, he bumped into someone who was wealthy, gave him charity, and who's giving me money? I'm the richest in this city. And then the Prophet ﷺ noticed the Sahaba were all laughing. As you and I, I'm sure, I'm amused at this man's circumstance. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, أَمَّا الْأُولَى, let me teach you the lesson. As for the first night, أَخَذَ السَّارِقُ الصَّدَقَ وَلَمْ يُؤْذِ أَحَدٍ. That thief, that armed robber took the charity and said, I don't need to hurt anyone today. That's more than what I was going to get anyway. And he went home and didn't hurt anyone. And perhaps you and I, we overlook the charity that we do. We overlook the person who we walk over on a sidewalk, or that we ignore, roll up our window to. We kind of assume that somebody else is going to do that dirty work for us, and that person isn't deserving of my hard-earned work, hard-earned wealth, and that charity should be for something like the masjid, or for somebody good, or to pay a student scholarship, or somebody who's somebody else. And the Prophet ﷺ says no, because if you don't give and I don't give and nobody else gives, who's going to give? Who's going to help the weak? Who's going to help the one who's doing wrong because it's convenient when nobody else is there to assist them? And subhanAllah, that charity didn't change the thief from being a thief, but it protected an innocent person from being mugged and hurt. And perhaps your charity that you want to give to one person can have the effect of healing many, assisting many. أما الثانية فأخذت المرأة الصدقة وعفت نفسها. The woman who took the charity on the second night, she honored herself and she said, I don't need to give myself anymore to anyone. I only was doing it out of duty and obligation to my family or my kids or whatever it is that was wrong in her life. And that's why the Prophet ﷺ says in the hadith in Imam al-Bukhari that a woman enters Jannah even though she was a woman of the night for feeding or giving water to a dog. Not to a human being, to an animal. She gave water to an animal that was thirsty. فَشَكَرَ اللَّهُ لَهَا. Allah was thankful to her and forgave her all of her sins. Because that's the things that she was most capable of doing. Right? It's not by what you do, but why you do it and the sincerity of your heart. So the Prophet ﷺ says, don't overlook anyone. And number 3, أَخَذَ الْغَنِيُّ الصَّدَقَةَ وَاحْتَقَرَ نَفْسَهُ. The rich man looked down at himself and said, someone less than me gives more than me. فَخَرَجَ الْغَنِيُّ الرَّابِعَ. The rich man was the one who went out on the fourth night, changed his clothes, and gave charity towards others. So many morals in this story. Wallahi, we could sit for a week, but I only got another minute with you left. Please, 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 don't just open your heart. Don't just give your dua, but give and heal your own community. Give and heal those who don't have. Give and heal those who are destitute. Give and heal those who are requesting, those who are undocumented, those who are needy, those who are beyond the catchments that many of us, alhamdulillah, have. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala heal you, provide you, assist you, and give you. And may Allah return it 100, 200, 700 times fold, as Allah promises to us in the Quran. Your brother Yahya Ibrahim, all the way from Australia, and my charity is also with you at a Shifa clinic. I've already sent it in my own way, in the name of my grandfather, Imam Al-Hajj Ibrahim Al-Da'dur. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send its light upon his grave. Allahumma ameen. Wa salli Allahumma wa sallim wa zid wa barik ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right. Thank you so much, Sheikh Yahya Adel Ibrahim, for that very inspiring message. I just want to reiterate that our silent auction is still going on right now. Mr. Qais Manufi is matching 20% for any donation from now on. So I highly encourage everyone, to keep up that momentum and help us reach our goal. So, if someone donates $25,000, he will donate $5,000. Thank you so much, Mr. Manufi, for your kindness and your generosity for our cause. Now I'll go ahead and let Dr. Hamal Khan take it from here and talk about our auction items and how you can call in and help us reach that goal of ours. So I'll go ahead and let him take it from here.
Thanks, Vijay. And thank you for everyone so far who's been able to share, and Sheikh Yahya's message is so beautiful and so inspirational. We wanted to share with you guys some of our auction items for tonight. And if we could advance to the slides, we wanted to show you a little bit of what we're hoping you'll be interested in bidding in tonight. There are the QR codes on the screens right now that you're able to pull up your phone again. If you open up your camera, it'll give you a pop-up link that you can click on. It'll go straight over to these items. So our first item is from Sharif Jewelers, who are very well-respected and generous jewelers here in Sacramento that have had a huge impact on our community. And they've got a great piece that they're sharing, a beautiful ring that you can see here. And this is a fantastic item to be able to check out, and hopefully to maybe give a gift to someone who's a loved one in your life. Maybe if we go to the next slide. Our second item are some beautiful necklaces. It sounds like one is, showcasing the Ayatul Kursi crescent here, and that's a necklace for women. We've also got the Ayatul Kursi bar necklace for men. And again, if you're interested in these items, you can go ahead and pull your phone out, go to that QR code link that's available in the bottom left of your screen. And we're hoping that you'll continue to bid. From what I'm hearing, and if we could advance to the next slide, from what I'm hearing, there's not a lot of bids on these items so far tonight. So you probably have a very good chance of being able to maybe one of these home, maybe surprise a loved one, maybe gift it to someone that you haven't gotten to see for a while during these COVID months recently. Our next item is a modern wall art piece. You can see the beautiful calligraphy there. It's a key holder piece, something that you can hang on a wall in an office, and a place where you get to see it and your family gets to enjoy something really elegant and beautiful on a regular basis. Again, these are all items that are available for you to bid on. I don't know if we have a fourth item available or a picture of a fourth item right now or not, but really I think what's really important here is for us to continue to give and support the clinic in whatever way that we can. Portion of our event tonight is going to involve bringing in some of our alumni. You've had a chance to listen to and learn from a lot of folks already, and we're hoping to have a little bit more of a dynamic conversation now and learn from our alumni about what they're doing, what they're really passionate about, and how Shifa has impacted them. That's something we're really looking forward to as a special part of tonight. And as part of the conversation tonight, I'm hoping to share some of my experiences too. And I want to invite the rest of the group on right now. And we've got a really cool group of alumni that several of which I had the pleasure and opportunity to work with, and some folks that I haven't gotten to see in quite a while. So I'm really excited they're able to join us tonight. I know many of you know most of these folks, but just to give you some brief introductions. For Sam is a fourth-year medical student here at the University of California, Davis School of Medicine, an incredible leader within the School of Medicine, and an undergraduate volunteer here at Shifa from 2013 to 2015, student volunteer from 2017 to 2018. She served in a variety of roles here, from being a monitor, a personnel manager, and outreach coordinator for the Healthy Breast Program, and continues to be a huge advocate for the community. Elizabeth Picasso was first working with us here at Shifa for about 2.5 years and graduated from UC Davis in 2019. She's currently a first-year medical student at the esteemed UCSF School of Medicine as part of their Prime US program. Hiba Humadi currently works as a health programs manager on Opening Doors, a nonprofit refugee resettlement agency here in Sacramento. And prior to that was one of our stellar volunteers that we really miss having here at clinic very, very recently. And also our personnel manager soon after that, or clinic manager, sorry. And finally, we have Zuruk Iqbal, who's a Shifa volunteer for over 3 years and is now currently a first-year medical student here in Sacramento at the California North State University College of Medicine. Thank you guys tonight. And I know you guys have spoken with us earlier tonight too, so I appreciate you guys continuing to join us for the rest of the event tonight. It's good to see you guys. It's been a while since I've had a chance to talk to some of you guys. So what I was hoping we could do as a group tonight is just have a conversation. So you guys can unmute yourselves, and maybe we can just have a little bit of a conversation about what Shifa has meant to you. And I think what would be helpful for me is, continue to learn about, what your involvement at Shifa has meant to you. And maybe Hiba, if you could maybe start us off and give us a little bit of perspective of what your experiences of Shifa have meant to you and how they've kind of shaped your trajectory.
I would love to. In undergrad, just like what one of the speakers was talking about before, the fact that I was able to see and be a part of that patient's journey towards changing their life, not just for themselves, but for their family, and oftentimes that physical health, and just thinking like, oh, my grandparents had diabetes, my parents had diabetes, so I'm just gonna get diabetes normally. And we're part of that health education process of teaching them how to prevent these chronic illnesses and how to address them in a way and prevent them from getting that far that truly negatively impacts their lives. That I've kind of started delving more in the health education of all aspects of that patient's life. And I'm privileged enough to be working with different refugee communities here in Sacramento, and hopefully in the near future be able to get that medical license and become that physician and come back to Shifa as an attending and just sort of be able to provide that relationship with the patient where they feel connected and they don't feel that barrier that they often feel with some of the current medical physicians here in the US. And unfortunately, there isn't enough physicians who are from these minority groups where they can come and talk comfortably about what they're going through. So that's just my goal, hopefully, in the future.
Awesome. Thank you. And I think that that's part of the vision here when we're starting to think about, there's so many experiences we have at Shifa. I know Fadi was describing earlier, like just the imagery of seeing disparities so up close and learning from it. And I think it's incredible that you've taken those experiences and you've gotten into a different role at a different organization, but your work in advancing these causes and advancing these efforts continues to be such a critical part of what our mission is. And it's not only about, advancing healthcare for our patients here at this clinic, but really about advancing these causes across the spectrum, across our communities, and across really the entire nation with, where our alumni able to go. And for Sam, I was hoping you could talk a little bit more about that, because I know you have so much experience thinking about the ripple effect that Shifa has. Thinking about how, where you are working in a system where there's patients, there's volunteers, there's physicians, there's, a larger community surrounding all of us, and how one small, donation or one small, hour of time that someone's really putting in these efforts can have such a big impact.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think one thing that I just learned from this event that was so cool is none of us were sat together and prepared our speeches or what we were going to say. And the common theme was like, we all came to Shifa to give back to our community, but we got so much more. And I just thought that was so cool. Like how all of us like had that similar theme that like, we wanted to give back and we wanted to like serve our community, but like our patients like gave us so much more. And for me, like I know for you as well, Hamad, like our patients and like our experiences at Shifa are like our motivating factors, like those long nights, like where you're like on call or you have to work like a 24-hour shift. Like, you think about like your patients at Shifa and like that really motivates you to keep going and moving forward. And I like to like starting medical school and now at the end of medical school, like it's really cool to see like how much help like Shifa prepared me for medical school and providing care for my patients. And I like that's why I really emphasize in my speech, like when people are donating to clinic, it's not just to the patients and medical care, but really is investment in our like future healthcare providers.
Exactly. And I think that's such a big portion of it, where it's an investment in the futures. And what's really cool about clinic is starting to think about, this isn't something where people are learning and moving on and moving away. We had Dr. Ball on earlier, and if I remember walking into clinic back in 2008, 2009, and there was a picture of him on the wall from like a newspaper article highlighting the work Shifa was doing. This is like 12 plus years ago now. And this is someone has done this work and has come back and continued to give both to our community here in Shifa and across different organizations in Sacramento. And now I feel incredibly privileged to be able to do so much of the same stuff. Where if I look back on my own history, coming in as an undergrad, like all you guys at some point, coming in as an undergrad, volunteering, showing up to your first shift, not having any idea what you're getting yourself into and being incredibly anxious and afraid, and then learning from this system that's been built up from Dr. Yasmin, our other mentors and preceptors within the system of teaching, of learning, of community, and most of all of giving. And I think that's something that's so well instilled within our, with everything that we do here at clinic, that you've seen it, have a great impact. You have seen people who've been involved in clinic come back and start things like clinic. These are things that undergraduates and medical students are coming up with. I've had the privilege of coming back and starting a mind clinic and working with our team, and now we're doing mental health, and you're seeing other folks in the community like Dr. Khan doing dental clinic, and you're seeing all these other folks that are really, really engaged and really passionate. And really what's awesome about this is the opportunity to take what already exists, to reflect on it, and then also to envision where it could be. And that's one of the things that I'm really sad about not having this event in person with, because these banquets and these meetings gave us that opportunity to meet and to do that, that kind of brainstorming. So I'm hoping those who are listening in tonight, or donating, are able to continue to share their ideas too, in ways that they want to make clinic better and advance clinic. And Zurich, I was hoping that you could speak on that too. And I know you've joined the Shifa Alumni Board, and this is something that you're hoping to continue to, serve in your capacity at Shifa. I was hoping to hear about why you decided to do that and how you're hoping you can continue to support Shifa through that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. For me, Shifa Clinic is so much more than a tiny building on 419 V Street. Shifa Clinic, honestly, is the impact that you have in the people of Sacramento. I was pretty much raised in Sacramento my whole life. My mother was an Islamic school teacher at Alarcom. And so growing up and being part of that community and seeing the same patients who were at the masjid and now coming to clinic, that's a full, whole around experience. And for me personally, I really wanted to make sure that I can stick with the Sacramento community because this community really raised me, and being part of this community is so much really ingrained in me as a person. And so with the opportunity to come back to Shifa and to be able to add in a little bit more of my expertise from being a former volunteer and now fortunately being a medical student, it's awesome to see that sort of full round experience. I'm incredibly grateful for Shifa Clinic for all the opportunities it gave to really serve this community, and ultimately for the avenue it gave me where I am today. My brother, for example, was also in Shifa Clinic, and he's now fortunately a psychiatry resident. And there's so many other people, Dr. Khan, like yourself, you're a psychiatry resident, Farsim, a fourth-year medical student, Hiba with Opening Doors. Fundamentally, Shifa Clinic is the avenue in which we can serve the Sacramento community, and we can continue making great strides. Dr. Yasmin and the other preceptors here laid the foundations. Now it's our job to ultimately lift that foundation up and to make it even stronger and bigger. And that was fundamentally the ultimate drive behind being a Shifa Clinic Alumni Board member.
That's awesome. And I think it speaks so much to the experiences you had in clinic and how much they've driven you and how, empowered you've been by this programming system that's here. And Elizabeth, what I was hoping you could touch on a little bit was, we've heard so much about clinic and so many different aspects of it. What for you in particular, do you want to make sure that folks that are listening in tonight know about clinic that maybe they haven't heard about as much, or maybe something that's really been so impactful for you in your journey?
Yes, it's really hard for me to summarize what clinic has meant for me. It's impacted my journey, my career, and how I view the world in so many different ways. But something that I always lean back on is the fact that it's a group of people coming together from many different backgrounds, being so open and understanding and willing to teach and make such an impact in a community while centering patient care. And patient care is ultimately the driving factor behind clinic. And this center is centered in cultural humility, not assuming we know everything about a patient's experience, assuming that just because we're from their community means that we know are the end all be all. Ultimately, the patient is the person who's driving this experience, so the person who's living in Shifa, is the embodiment of Shifa. And it's our job to make sure they feel at home and to feel like they have a community that supports them. And oftentimes we're the only people who talk to them that entire week. We're the only people who think about what's affecting them and how is it feasible for them to make these changes to access care. And there's just so many different ways to describe Shifa. And I think it's ultimately coming back to that patient care and being willing to take a back seat and realize we may have knowledge, but ultimately the wisdom comes from that person who is allowing us to be in that room with them.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And as we're wrapping up our session tonight, I know we're running a little over time. So I actually wanted us to close with asking, the group of you guys to describe Shifa in one word. What's the one word that you'd want our viewers tonight to leave with if they're thinking about Shifa? May, for some, you can start us off.
Yeah, I'm glad I get to go first because I think others might say this. It's really hard to pick one word, but if I had to pick one, I would say Shifa is family. From our patients, from our physicians, our medical students, to our undergraduate volunteers, to our phlebotomists, to our dental hygienist, to our clinic manager, like all of us are one big family, and without one member of our family, like we don't work. And it's truly the strength, like we all learn from each other, we all grow from each other, and it's truly the beauty of Shifa.
Hiba?
Goodness, it's difficult, but trailblazers. I can't express how amazing it is to see an undergrad who notices a need in the clinic in our community, and they dedicate like that month, that year into making it happen. And that's such a rare opportunity, and to be able to like continuously upgrade the clinic as years go by it's so enlightening.
Awesome. And I know we have 20 seconds left, so Zaruk, if you could share your word that comes to mind.
Impact.
Impact.
Yeah, impact, definitely.
Awesome. And Elizabeth, you want to close this out?
Yes, hope, I think, is the embodiment of Shifa.
I think that's powerful. I think all those things speak to so many parts of what we've gone over tonight and things that we've gotten to talk about. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for sharing with us. I know next VJ is going to be taking the controls back and starting to wrap us up for the night. So thank you guys all for joining us tonight.
All right, thank you to our wonderful alumni for that amazing talk about Shifa and your experiences as well. I just want to reiterate, we are taking PayPal and Venmo donations still. I know we're running a little bit behind schedule, but we're trying to wrap up right now. You can donate anytime through our Venmo or our PayPal. Like Dr. Khan said, you can go ahead and take a picture of the PayPal or Venmo on the screen right now, and then you can go ahead and donate through there. You can also send in a cash or check donation via mail to our PO box. It's on the screen right now. And the QR codes are on the bottom of the screen as well. So you can go ahead and take a picture of those as well as we wrap things up. I just want to shout out and thank you to, really generous donations from, Sami Haq, Kais Manufi, Mr. Zaib Alam, Mr. Mukhtar Ahmed, Dr. Arif Sayal, and Dr. Sadia and Zahid Iqbal for their amazing, generous donations. Their names are on the screen right here. You can see the amount that they donated, and we truly appreciate their generosity and kindness in this time, in this banquet. So thank you to them. All right, now we're going to get into some really quick Shifa recognitions before we wrap up tonight. So we'll go ahead and start with our, amazing preceptors. They are the backbone of clinic. They are, truly dedicating their time on Sundays to help our patient population and give our patients the best care that they need on a Sunday, coming in, giving their time to help. So it's truly, truly appreciated. Next, we have our co-directors. These are medical students in their first and second year that are taking the time out of their day to go ahead and treat our patients, learn about medicine, learn about Shifa, and give back to our patients. They're learning from our preceptors as well, and we as undergraduate volunteers learn from them too. So they are truly, truly appreciated here at Shifa, and we value them very, very much. Next, I want to go ahead and recognize our undergraduate board. These are undergraduate students who are coming together to make events like this a reality, make events like this a possibility. They truly run Shifa, talking to, multiple people on events, trying to bring the community together, and they are truly, truly admired, and we truly, truly value them. So I just want to say thank you to them as well. All right, so what we're going to go ahead and do is just show a very quick video from Dr. Yasmin. I want to say thank you to all of our preceptors, medical students, undergraduate board. It's through the efforts of all of them that, Shifa has been able to trailblaze forward in providing our underserved communities and, serve as a source of inspiration for all of us. So I'll go ahead and let that video start playing right now.
On behalf of Shifa Clinic board members and myself, I want to thank all our undergraduate volunteers for their passion, commitment, and dedication to Shifa Clinic. We would like to thank our outstanding volunteers who have worked tirelessly in preparing this event tonight. Thank you, Vijay, Sahira, Anouk, Hadia, Neeraj, Rita, and our clinic manager, Husna. I am proud to announce that Shifa Clinic was chosen to be the pilot clinic out of 9 student-run UC Davis clinics to start seeing patients on site. Our outstanding medical students, Armand and Mustafa, worked with UC Davis leadership in developing protocols for patients to be seen safely on site. Thank you for doing an outstanding job.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Yasmin, for that amazing video. Now we're just going to go ahead and get into some special recognitions. First, we have Dr. George Meyer. He's a physician in internal medicine and gastroenterology and a Shifa preceptor. We truly admire his willingness to further students' medical knowledge and all the work that he's put in as well. Next, we have, Mr. Manufi. He's an honorary community board member. He's been involved in Shifa Clinic and as the CEO and founder of Delgada. His strong support of the clinic throughout the years is very, very appreciated. So thank you so much to Mr. Manufi. All right, next we have Dr. Noreen. She's relentlessly hardworking and dedicated as a physician. She truly embodies the essence of compassion and, truly motivates all of us to be the best version of ourselves every day. Thank you so much for your contributions to Shifa and its patients and the greater community, Dr. Noreen. We truly appreciate it. All right, and next we have Dr. Hamad Khan. He has been with Shifa for so long as an undergraduate medical student and as a preceptor now for our Mind Clinic. He goes above and beyond, and as you've seen on this call, he's been able to do amazing things for Shifa, and we truly appreciate all the hard work that he's done and all the hard work that he continues to do for us. We really, really appreciate it. All right, next going into some of our, previous alumni. First is Rita Asmai. Through her commitment and hard work, she's been able to, help Shifa thrive, and she's given her full efforts to the clinic as a past volunteer, so we truly appreciate her. Next, we have Sahira. For Sahira, I've seen her personally grow tremendously and complete projects such as, outreach events, a Spanish webinar, fundraisers, multiple fundraisers. And in her time with us, Sahira has truly showcased her kind and gentle nature, which is truly inspiring to everyone around us. And, she's our current personal manager and continues to give and give and give. And that's, we truly appreciate Sahira so much for that. So thank you. Next, we have Hosna Mohabbat. She is our clinic manager, throughout the past year. And, she's been a part of Shifa for 3 years, and she's played an integral role in, Shifa's transition into telemedicine and ensures clinic flow. She's truly a role model for all of us as undergraduates, and Shifa is honored to have her as clinic manager.
Okay, so hi everyone. I just wanted to take over on the recognitions to go ahead and recognize our stellar volunteer, Vijay Reddy. You guys are all familiar with him by this point. He's been emceeing the entire event. Vijay, we appreciate you so much. We appreciate all the hard work that you've put into clinic since summer of 2017 up until this point. Shifa would not be the same without Vijay and his dedication and passion for our clinic, its volunteers, and his ability to just connect with anybody that walks through those clinic doors. So thank you so much. I also wanted to recognize Dr. Hamad Khan. You've played a very integral role in the success of tonight's virtual banquet. Tonight definitely did require a lot of innovation and a lot of creative thinking. So I'm very grateful for our entire undergraduate team, our medical students, the preceptors, community board members, everybody who came together to make this vision into a reality. So thank you all so very much. And with that, we'll go ahead and transition into the next segment.
All right, thank you so much, Hosna, for those words. Now we're going to go ahead and give a very special thank you to our medical director, Dr. Shagufi Yasmin, for all that she has done, to our community and our patients. Her hard work and dedication is truly something that I look up to, and I know everyone here looks up to as well. And, all that she's done for our patients is truly, truly inspiring. So I want to give a special thank you to Dr. Yasmin for all that she's done. And, next up, we have Hosna Mohabbat, our clinic manager. Where can I even start with Hosna? She literally does everything for clinic, opening the doors, going above and beyond for our patients, our volunteers, and our preceptors to make sure Shifa is functioning at its best. She's truly the embodiment of Shifa, someone who's extremely open to learning, teaching, and, strives to give our patient population the best they can possibly get. So I want to give a special, special thank you to Hosna for all that she's done for our patients throughout this year and tonight as well through this banquet. We truly, truly all appreciate you, Hosna. All right, I want to just recognize some of our amazing volunteers. First, we have, Armand and Mustafa on the left. They've been able to start a pilot clinic, throughout this times of COVID, throughout all this pandemic. We've been able to, successfully open up clinics safely for our patients throughout the help of Armand and Mustafa. We have Sahira, our current personal manager. She consistently goes above and beyond for our patients through fundraisers, like I've said before, really giving all that she can for our patients, our volunteers, our preceptors, everything. Speaking of preceptors, we have Anouk. She's the third picture on the bottom. She consistently goes above and beyond for our preceptors preceptors, scheduling preceptors for, multiple clinic days, reaching out, her innovation and dedication to Shifa is truly inspiring, and we truly appreciate it. And, to end it off, we have Dr. Shagufta Yasmin, everything that she's done for our community, our patients, her hard work is just truly, truly inspiring. I can't reiterate that enough. I truly want to thank Dr. Yasmin for everything that she's done for us throughout our time at Shifa and throughout tonight as well. So thank you so much to our amazing volunteers, preceptors, and medical students. We're so lucky to have all of you. All right, and with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let Dr. Hamad Khan, close off tonight with some very inspiring words. I want to thank you all for coming out tonight. We truly, truly appreciate each and every one of you. So I'll go ahead and let Dr. Khan take it from here.
BJ, you're setting me up for a hard job to close with inspiring words, but I think the reality of it is that we've seen the inspiring work already. We've seen the work that our undergrads are putting in, our medical students, our preceptors, and the rest of our teams, and I think that's really the message that we're walking away with tonight. That there's just an incredible opportunity for everyone who's on tonight, who's listening in, who's going to listen in as this video circulates, to all the work that we're doing in clinic here. I want to come back to the number that we shared earlier when it came to the patient appointments per year. It was 727. 727 times someone's either walked through that door, someone's picked up a phone call, hopped onto a video call, and been able to get the care that they needed because of the generosity of the people listening in tonight. That's powerful, and it's empowering at the same time. And particularly as we're looking at our world here in 2020, I think I speak for many of us when we've all felt helpless. There's times where we felt hopeless. There's times where we don't know what we could do, but we wanted to do something. And tonight, we hope that we're able to present each and every one of you an opportunity to do that something, to take a small step, to share a little bit of what you can share. And we're hoping that as you are thinking about this and you're thinking about the work that you're doing, that you find it within yourselves to be able to donate. We're going to share these links for Venmo, PayPal again. And as we're thinking about our goal for tonight, we're broken through $60,000. And that's thanks to the generosity of the people that we're seeing tonight. We're really incredibly appreciative of everyone that's donated. We just got a big donation from Sohila Manwar for $2,000, and these are the contributions that you make, both those who are larger sums and those of you who are giving smaller sums. And I want to draw your memory back to what Brother Case shared, where he's willing to match up to 20% of your donation. So if you're donating $1,000, he'll throw in an extra 200, and we're hopeful that maybe others of you will step up and also be willing to continue this momentum forward as we're going towards this goal. But coming back to our mission, which so many of our students and our alums and folks have shared tonight, it comes down to patient care. It comes down to doing right by those who need it the most, by serving our most underserved, our most in need populations. And everything that we do, whether it's donating our time, our ideas, our financial support, or simply just wanting to be a part of tonight and listening in, we thank you for that. We appreciate what you're doing, and we know and we want you to trust that what you're providing and what you're sharing is going to make a difference. What I'm really wanting to close out with tonight is a patient that I saw here at clinic not too long ago. And it was a young couple, two folks who had both immigrated in the recent years, who had come here by themselves, two people who had found themselves afflicted with an illness very soon after arriving in a way that was unexpected to them in any way. They came to this country with hopes and dreams, and they're met with challenges. And now they find themselves unable to access care for a variety of different reasons. And we're hoping and we're working towards connecting them. But one of the phrases that they said to me was something that really stuck with me afterwards. And they asked, "Hamari khidmat karne wala kaun hai?" Who will help us? In their native language, they asked a challenging but yet so painful question of, who will be there for us when we need it? Who will be there to help us when we need that help so much? And tonight, that's what we're calling on. When we're telling you about these patients and these causes that we're passionate about, we hope that you'll join us, that you'll support us, that you'll step up and do whatever it is that you can, donate as much or as little as you're able to, but show your support for a cause that is so incredible and so empowering for our students, our owners, our community members, and our entire Sacramento and California community at large. So thank you all for joining us. Thank you to all our board members, our preceptors, our medical students, our undergraduate leaders and volunteers. Thank you to our community members who joined us tonight, and everyone else who might be listening and hearing about Shifa Clinic for the first time. We thank you and we appreciate you. We look very much forward to continuing to serve you, and we hope and we pray that you'll continue to remember us. Thank you all, and good night, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Hamad Khan, for that inspiring message. I just want to relay some information from Dr. Shagufa Yasmin. She really wants to relay her gratitude for all of you tonight, whether you're a preceptor, medical student, volunteer, or even if this is your first experience with Shifa through this banquet. Dr. Yasmin and we all here truly appreciate each and every one of you for what you do and your continuous dedication and passion for our cause. So I just want to go ahead and close and say thank you all for joining us tonight and celebrating Shifa's accomplishments in the past year. We hope to come together again next year, achieving more, giving more, learning more through the help of your generous donations. In the words of Maya Angelou, when you learn, teach, when you give. Thank you everyone for your generosity and time in joining us here. It was truly an amazing event, and I hope to see all of you soon again.